Captain Han Wu stood on the bridge of the Defiant Thunder, watching the stars through the main screen. His ship floated in the dark space beyond Earth's moon, hidden from any watching eyes. The stealth systems kept them invisible, just like Admiral Park So-jin had ordered. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Lee Na-ri from her station, "long-range sensors are picking up something big. 12 ships coming toward Earth." Han Wu nodded. They had been waiting for this day for 50 years. The Galactic Empire was coming, back for their tribute payment, just like they always did. But this time would be different. "Send a message to Admiral Park," Han Wu said. "Tell her the Imperial fleet has arrived." 200 years ago, the Empire had found Earth. Their scouts had looked at humans and laughed. They saw people with simple rockets and basic computers. The Empire decided Earth was not worth their time. They marked it as a primitive world and said humans were barely smart enough to use tools. But the Empire made one big mistake. They left behind some of their technology when they departed. A few broken pieces of their ships, some damaged computers. The humans found these pieces and studied them carefully. Dr. Kim Tae-ho had spent his whole life working on those alien fragments. Now he was the chief engineer of Earth's secret space program. He had learned how to make weapons that could punch through Imperial shields. He had figured out how to build engines that could move faster than Imperial ships. "Dr. Kim," Han Wu called over the communication system, "are all systems ready?" "Yes, Captain," came the reply from the engine room. "The phase shift drive is working perfectly. The quantum weapons are charged. We are ready for anything." On Earth's surface, Admiral Park So-jin sat in the command center buried deep under the mountains. Around her, dozens of officers worked at their stations. They watched as the Imperial fleet came closer to Earth. "Admiral," said Commander Yu Ji-hai, the intelligence officer, "the Imperial ships are the same type as 50 years ago. They have not improved their technology at all." Park So-jin smiled. The Empire was so sure of their power that they never bothered to make better ships. They thought no one could challenge them. This would be their downfall. "Open a channel to the Imperial fleet," Park ordered. The main screen showed the face of Sub-Commander Vextal, the Empire's tribute collector. He had green skin and 4 eyes, like most of his species. He looked bored and annoyed. "Humans of Earth," Vextal said in a flat voice, "I am here to collect your tribute payment. You will give us 1 million tons of metal, 500,000 units of food, and 10,000 of your people to work in our mines." "I am Admiral Park So-jin of Earth's United Defense Force," Park replied calmly. "We decline your request." Vexatal's 4 eyes widened in surprise. "Decline? You cannot decline. You are a primitive world under Imperial control." "We are no longer primitive," Park said, "and we are no longer under anyone's control." The Imperial commander looked confused. His sensors were telling him something impossible. Earth's major cities had energy shields around them. There were weapon platforms in orbit that should not exist. His scanning equipment was being blocked by jamming signals he did not understand. "This is impossible," Vexatal said. "Our records show you have only basic technology. You cannot have advanced this far in 50 years. "Your records are wrong," Park replied. "We have had 200 years to prepare for this day." Back on the Defiant Thunder, Han Wu watched the conversation with his crew. Lieutenant Commander Lee Na-ri checked her weapons systems one more time. Chief Petty Officer Song Hye-jin made sure their communication links were secure. "Captain," Lee Na-ri said quietly, "the Imperial ships are moving into attack formation." Han Wu had expected this. The Empire never negotiated. They only understood force. When someone said no to them, they destroyed that someone. "All hands, prepare for battle," Han Wu announced over the ship's communication system. "This is what we trained for." Sub-Commander Vextal's patience ran out. "You will comply with Imperial law, or we will destroy your cities. You have 1 minute to surrender." Admiral Park looked at the countdown timer on her screen. 59 seconds, 58, 57. "Commander Yu," she said calmly, "begin Operation Freedom." Around Earth's solar system, hidden ships began to power up their engines. The Defiant Thunder was not alone. Captain Lim Dong-woo's ship Shadow Strike uncloaked near Jupiter. Captain No Yun-bi's massive Titan breaker emerged from behind the asteroid belt. But Vexatal could not see these ships yet. His attention was focused on Earth itself, where the orbital platforms were beginning to glow with energy. "Time is up," Vextal declared. "Destroy the largest city as an example." 3 Imperial ships moved toward Earth. Their weapons began to charge. These were the same weapons that had destroyed 1,000 worlds. The Empire had never met anyone who could stop them. That was about to change. "Captain Han Wu," Admiral Park's voice came through the communication system. "You are cleared for attack. Show them what humans can do." Han Wu smiled. "With pleasure, Admiral. Li Nari, take us in." The Defiant Thunder dropped its stealth systems and appeared directly behind the 3 attacking Imperial ships. The enemy had never seen anything like it. One moment there was empty space, the next moment there was a human warship that glowed with unknown energy. "Impossible!" Vextal shouted from his command ship. "Where did they come from?" Han Wu opened a channel to the Imperial fleet. "This is Captain Han Wu of the Earth ship Defiant Thunder. You came here expecting to find helpless primitives. Instead, you found us. We suggest you leave now, while you still can." The Imperial commander in charge of the attack ships laughed. "One small ship against 3 Imperial cruisers? You are brave but stupid, human." "We are not stupid," Han Wu replied. "We are just better than you." Dr. Kim Taeho's voice came from the engine room. "Captain, all weapons are ready. The quantum torpedoes are locked on target." "Fire," Han Wu ordered. The Defiant Thunder fired its main weapons. But these were not normal weapons. Dr. Kim had designed them to work in ways the Empire could not understand. The quantum torpedoes passed right through the Imperial shields as if they were not there. They struck the first enemy ship and tore it apart from the inside. The other 2 Imperial ships tried to return fire, but their weapons could not lock onto the Defiant Thunder. The human ship was using phase shift technology that made it exist in normal space and another dimension at the same time. The Imperial weapons passed harmlessly through empty air. "What kind of weapons are these?" the 2nd Imperial captain screamed over the communication channel. "The kind you get when you underestimate your enemy for 200 years, Han Wu answered. The Defiant Thunder fired again. The 2nd Imperial ship exploded in a ball of fire. The 3rd ship tried to run, but Lieutenant Commander Li Nari was faster. Her targeting computer locked on, and another quantum torpedo ended the fight. Sub-Commander Vextal watched in horror as 3 of his best ships were destroyed in less than 2 minutes. His remaining 9 ships were suddenly facing an enemy they did not understand. "Retreat!" he ordered. "All ships, retreat to the edge of the system." But Admiral Park was not finished with them yet. "Captain Han Wu, escort our guests to the system boundary. Make sure they understand they are not welcome here anymore." The Defiant Thunder followed the fleeing Imperial ships, staying just close enough to remind them what would happen if they tried to return. The lesson was clear. Earth was no longer a primitive world that could be bullied. The age of human space power had begun. 3 days passed after the Imperial fleet retreated to the edge of Earth's solar system. Sub-Commander Vextal sat in his command chair, staring at the reports from his surviving captains. 3 ships destroyed. 0 human casualties. It made no sense. "Sir," said his communications officer, "we have received a message from Imperial Command. They want a full report." Vextal sighed. How could he explain this to his superiors? How could he tell them that primitive humans had weapons that passed through Imperial shields like they were made of paper? "Send the report," he ordered. "Tell them we need reinforcements. Many reinforcements." Back on Earth, Dr. Kim Tae-ho worked in his laboratory deep underground. Around him, teams of engineers and scientists studied the data from the battle. Every shot fired, every move made, every second of the fight was recorded and analyzed. The phase shift technology worked perfectly, Dr. Kim told Admiral Park during their daily meeting. Our ship existed in 2 dimensions at once. Their weapons could not hit what they could not properly see. Admiral Park nodded. "What about our weapons? How effective were they?" "Better than we hoped," Dr. Kim smiled. "The quantum torpedoes ignored their shields completely. We can destroy any Imperial ship with a single hit." But Park looked worried. "They will not give up after one defeat. The Empire has ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. They will send more ships." She was right. In the Imperial capital, far across the galaxy, Fleet Admiral Zormak read Vextal's report with growing anger. A primitive world had destroyed 3 Imperial ships? It was impossible. It was embarrassing. It would not be allowed to continue. Send the 4th attack fleet to Earth, Zormak ordered. 50 ships should be enough to handle whatever tricks these humans have learned. Captain Han Wu stood on the bridge of the Defiant Thunder, watching the stars through the main screen. 3 weeks had passed since the first battle. His ship was hidden behind Earth's moon, waiting for the Empire's response. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Lee Nari, "long-range sensors are detecting multiple warp signatures, big ones." Han Wu activated the ship's communication system. "Admiral Park, this is Han Wu. The Empire's reinforcements have arrived. In the command center on Earth, Admiral Park studied the sensor readings with Commander Yu Ji-hai. 50 Imperial ships were entering the solar system. Each one was larger and more powerful than the ships they had fought before. "These are frontline warships," Yu Ji-hai said. "Each one carries enough firepower to destroy a planet's surface." "Then we better make sure they do not get the chance to use it," Park replied. The Imperial fleet was commanded by Admiral Kexran, a veteran warrior who had conquered 20 star systems for the Empire. He looked at the tactical display showing Earth's position and laughed. 50 ships against 1 primitive world, he said to his officers. This will be the shortest battle in Imperial history. But Admiral Park had not been idle during the 3 weeks since the first battle. Earth's shipyards had been working around the clock, building new vessels with Dr. Kim's advanced technology. The Defiant Thunder was no longer alone. "Captain Lim Dongwu," Park's voice came through the communication system. "You are cleared to decloak." Near the asteroid belt, the stealth destroyer Shadow Strike became visible to Imperial sensors. Its hull was smaller than the Defiant Thunder, but it carried weapons designed for a different kind of warfare. "Captain No Yunbi," Park continued, "begin your approach." The massive dreadnought Titanbreaker emerged from behind Jupiter's largest moon. It was 3 times the size of the largest Imperial ship, covered in armor that seemed to bend light around itself. Admiral Kexran stared at his tactical display in confusion. "Where did these ships come from?" "Our intelligence said the humans had no space fleet." "Sir," said his sensor officer, "there are more ships appearing on our screens. I count at least 12 human vessels." Kexran's confidence began to fade. This was not what he had expected. "No matter," he said, trying to sound calm. "We still outnumber them 4 to 1. All ships advance and destroy the human fleet." The Imperial ships moved forward in a battle formation that had won 1,000 victories across the galaxy. But they were facing an enemy unlike any they had encountered before. Captain Han Wu watched the enemy approach from his position behind the moon. "Dr. Kim, are the new weapons ready?" "Yes, Captain," came the reply from the engine room. "The dimensional torpedoes are loaded and armed. These were Dr. Kim's latest creation. While quantum torpedoes could pass through shields, dimensional torpedoes could strike a target from another reality entirely. The Empire had no defense against weapons that attacked from dimensions they did not even know existed. All human ships," Admiral Park's voice came through the communication network, "execute Operation Thunderbolt." The human fleet moved with precision that surprised the Imperial commanders. Instead of charging forward like most enemies did, the human ships seemed to dance around each other in a complex pattern. Captain Lim Dongwu's Shadow Strike vanished from sensors completely, using advanced stealth technology to become truly invisible. The ship reappeared inside the Imperial formation, firing its weapons at close range before disappearing again. "Where did it go?" Admiral Kexran shouted. "Find that ship!" But the Shadow Strike was already gone, having used its phase shift drive to escape to a different location. 3 Imperial ships were burning from the surprise attack, their hulls torn open by weapons they never saw coming. Captain No Yunbi's Titanbreaker demonstrated why it was called a dreadnought. Its main gun fired a beam of pure energy that cut through 2 Imperial ships like they were made of paper. The massive vessel's armor deflected the return fire without taking any damage. "Impossible," Kexran's tactical officer reported. "Our heavy plasma cannons are not even scratching their hull." The Defiant Thunder appeared behind the Imperial fleet, having used its dimensional drive to cross space instantly. Captain Han Wu's crew fired their dimensional torpedoes, and 3 more Imperial ships simply ceased to exist. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "the humans are using some kind of quantum communication system. We cannot jam their signals." This was another of Dr. Kim's innovations. Human ships could communicate through quantum entanglement, allowing perfect coordination no matter how far apart they were or how much interference the enemy created. Major An Mi Young led her boarding teams from the assault ship Storm Rider. Her Marines used personal phase shift devices to pass through Imperial hull armor and attack from inside enemy ships. The Imperial crews had never faced warriors who could walk through walls. "Sir?" Sergeant Major Choi Min-seok reported to Major An over the communication link. "We have captured the bridge of the Imperial cruiser. Their computer systems are completely different from ours." "Download everything you can," An ordered. "Every piece of information will help us in future battles." The battle lasted only 2 hours. When it was over, 30 Imperial ships were destroyed or captured. The remaining 20 ships were retreating as fast as their engines could carry them. Admiral Kexran sat in his damaged command chair, trying to understand what had happened. How? He asked himself. How did primitives defeat the Imperial Navy? Commander Yu Ji-hai appeared on his main screen. She had been monitoring Imperial communications throughout the battle. "Admiral Kexran," she said politely, "my name is Commander Yu. I have been studying your people for many years." "Studying us?" Kexran asked. "How?" "We sent people to live among you," Yu replied. "We learned your language, your technology, your military tactics. While you ignored us, we learned everything about you." The Imperial Admiral realized the full scope of his defeat. The humans had not just built better weapons. They had spent decades preparing for this moment, learning every detail about their enemy while remaining invisible. "Tell your empire," Yu continued, "that Earth is no longer available for conquest. We are no longer the primitive world you found 200 years ago. We are something new, something you should fear." The surviving Imperial ships limped out of the solar system, carrying news that would shake the Empire to its core. The humans had not just won a battle. They had announced their arrival as a new power in the galaxy. In his laboratory, Dr. Kim Tae-ho was already working on the next generation of weapons. The Empire would return with more ships, and Earth would be ready for them. The war for human freedom had only just begun. News of the defeat at Earth spread through the Galactic Empire like wildfire. In the Imperial capital, Emperor Valax himself called an emergency meeting of his war council. The massive chamber filled with admirals and generals from across the galaxy, all trying to understand how a primitive world had destroyed 80 Imperial ships. "This is impossible," General Mortax declared, his 6 arms waving in agitation. "No single world has ever defeated an Imperial fleet. Not in 1,000 years of conquest." "Yet it happened," Emperor Valax said coldly. His red eyes glowed with anger as he stared at the tactical displays. "Earth has become a threat to Imperial authority. If word spreads that humans can defeat us, other worlds might rebel." Fleet Admiral Zormak stepped forward. "My Emperor, I request permission to take the Grand Battle Fleet to Earth. 500 ships will crush these humans completely." "Granted," the Emperor replied. "Destroy Earth and make an example of them. No world must think they can defy the Empire." 3 months after the second battle, Captain Han Wu floated in the zero gravity of his ship's observation deck, looking out at the construction yards orbiting Earth. Hundreds of new ships were being built, each one incorporating Dr. Kim Tae-ho's latest technological breakthroughs. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Lee Nari's voice came through the communication system. "Admiral Park wants to see you in the command center." Han Wu pushed off from the window and glided toward the transport tube that would take him back to Earth. As his shuttle descended through the atmosphere, he could see the massive defensive installations that now protected every major city. Earth looked like a fortress world. In the underground command center, Admiral Park So-jin stood before a holographic display showing the entire solar system. Red dots marked the positions of human ships, while blue dots showed defensive platforms and weapon satellites. "Han Wu," Park said as he entered the room, "we have received intelligence that the Empire is preparing something big." Commander Yu's sources inside Imperial space report a massive fleet gathering. Commander Yu Ji-Hai activated another display. 500 ships, Admiral, the largest Imperial fleet ever assembled. They call it the Grand Battle Fleet. Dr. Kim Tae-ho joined the meeting through a video link from his laboratory. Admiral, my teams have completed work on the next generation of our technology. We now have ships that can exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Explained. Park. Ordered. The new multi-phase generators allow our ships to spread their existence across several parallel realities, Dr. Kim said excitedly. An enemy weapon might hit the ship in one dimension, but the ship continues to exist in the others. It is almost impossible to destroy. Captain Lim Dong-woo entered the command center, his uniform still bearing scorch marks from his latest mission. Admiral, the Shadow Strike has completed reconnaissance of the outer system. We found something interesting. He activated his tactical display. The Empire has been building a staging area in the empty space beyond Pluto. Supply ships, repair, facilities, communication relays. They are planning to establish a permanent base in our solar system. Not if we stop them first, Park said. How many ships are there? 40 vessels, Lim replied. Mostly support ships, but they are protected by 12 heavy cruisers. Admiral Park studied the tactical situation. The Empire was trying to establish a foothold in Earth's solar system, a base from which they could launch endless attacks. It had to be stopped. Captain Han Wu, Captain Lim, you will take a strike force and destroy this base. Use the new multi-phase technology to test it in combat. 2 days later, a small fleet of human ships approached the Imperial staging area. The Defiant Thunder led the formation, followed by the Shadow Strike and 6 newer vessels equipped with Dr. Kim's latest innovations. Lieutenant Bae Suho piloted his fighter through the asteroid field, using the rocks as cover while he scouted the enemy position. Captain Han Wu, he reported, the Imperial base is heavily defended. They have weapon platforms surrounding the main facility. Understood, Han Wu replied. All ships, activate multi-phase generators. Let us show the Empire what human engineering can accomplish. The human ships seemed to flicker and become translucent as they entered multi-phase mode. They existed in normal space but also extended into parallel dimensions, making them nearly impossible to target or destroy. The Imperial commander at the base, Admiral Torval, watched his sensors in confusion as the human ships appeared on his screens. What is that distortion around their hulls? He asked his science officer. Unknown, sir, came the reply. Their ships appear to be shifting in and out of phase with normal space. No matter, Torvald declared. 12 cruisers against 8. Small ships. We have them outnumbered. All weapons, open fire. The Imperial ships fired their plasma cannons and missile batteries, filling space with deadly energy. But most of their weapons passed harmlessly through the human ships, striking only empty space where the vessels existed in other dimensions. Direct hit on the lead human ship, reported the Imperial gunner. No damage detected. Captain Han Wu smiled as enemy fire passed through his ship like it was made of ghost. Dr. Kim, your multi-phase technology works perfectly. Return fire. The Defiant Thunder fired its dimensional torpedoes, weapons that could strike targets across multiple realities simultaneously. The Imperial ships had no defense against attacks that came from dimensions they could not detect. 3 Imperial cruisers exploded in rapid succession, their hulls torn apart by weapons that seemed to come from nowhere. The other Imperial ships tried to retreat, but Captain Lim's Shadow Strike was already behind them. Engine room, Lim called to his crew. Give me maximum phase shift. We are going inside their formation. The Shadow Strike seemed to disappear completely, becoming invisible to all Imperial sensors. It reappeared inside the protective formation of enemy ships, firing at point-blank range before vanishing again. Major An Mi-young's assault teams boarded 2 Imperial supply ships, using personal phase shift devices to walk through their hull armor. The Imperial crews found themselves fighting enemies who could appear and disappear at will. Sir, Sergeant Major Choi Min-seok reported to Major An. We have captured their communication center. The Imperial fleet knows about this attack now. Good, An replied. Let them know what happens when they try to build bases in our solar system. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it was over, the entire Imperial staging area was destroyed. 40 ships turned into floating debris, their crews either captured or dead. The human strike force had not lost a single vessel. Admiral Torval found himself a prisoner aboard the Defiant Thunder, brought before Captain Han Wu for questioning. The Imperial officer stared at his captor with a mixture of fear and confusion. "How?" Torval asked. "How do your weapons work? How do your ships become untouchable?" "We learned from studying your technology," Han Wu replied. "But we did not stop there. We improved it. We made it better. While your empire became lazy and arrogant, we never stopped learning." "The Grand Battle Fleet will crush you," Torval said, trying to sound defiant. 500 ships cannot be defeated by your tricks." "We shall see," Han Wu said calmly. "Your empire has underestimated us twice now. Perhaps the third time will teach you wisdom." The human fleet returned to Earth carrying valuable intelligence from the captured Imperial computers. Dr. Kim's teams analyzed the data, learning more about Imperial technology and tactics. "Admiral," Dr. Kim reported to Park during their briefing, "the captured information shows us how Imperial ships generate their power. I believe we can develop weapons that will destabilize their reactor cores." "How long will that take?" Park asked. 2 weeks, Dr. Kim replied. "By the time their Grand Battle Fleet arrives, we will have weapons that can destroy their largest ships with a single shot." Ambassador Kang Ye-jin entered the command center with news from deep space. "Admiral, our allies have sent word. The Zephyrian Crystal Shapers and Mordak Energy Weavers are providing us with additional technology. Their ships will arrive soon." Park nodded. Earth was no longer fighting alone. Other species that had suffered under Imperial rule were joining the fight for freedom. Fleet Admiral Zormak's Grand Battle Fleet was only days away from Earth. 500 of the Empire's most powerful warships, carrying weapons that could turn planets into molten rock, but they were sailing toward an enemy that had evolved far beyond their understanding. The greatest space battle in galactic history was about to begin, and the Empire was about to learn that sometimes the hunter becomes the hunted. Ambassador Kang Ye-jin stood in the secure meeting room deep beneath Earth's surface, surrounded by holographic images of beings from across the galaxy. The Zephyrian representative appeared as a creature made of living crystal, while the Mordak delegate looked like flowing energy given form. 3 other species were also present, all former subjects of the Galactic Empire. "Friends," Kang said in the common galactic language, "the time has come to reveal the truth about our alliance." Admiral Park So-jin sat at the head of the table, listening as decades of secret planning were finally brought into the light. For 50 years, Earth had not been working alone. Other conquered species had been sharing technology and resources, all preparing for this moment. "The Empire believes they face only humans," said the Zephyrian representative, its crystal body ringing like bells as it spoke. "They do not know that 6 species have joined together." The Mordak delegate's energy form pulsed with colors. "Our quantum phase technology combined with human engineering has created weapons the Empire cannot comprehend." Dr. Kim Tae-ho joined the meeting through a secure communication link. "The integration of alien technologies has exceeded our best estimates," he reported. "Zephyrian crystal matrices have improved our weapons by 300%. Mordak energy weaving has made our shields nearly indestructible." "What about the Velkari temporal manipulators?" Park asked. A new hologram appeared, showing a being that seemed to exist in several time streams at once. "Our time dilation fields are ready," the Velkari representative said. "Human ships will move so fast that Imperial weapons will seem frozen in space." Colonel Oh Hyun-woo activated a tactical display showing the positions of Allied fleets throughout the galaxy. "Admiral, we have forces positioned in 12 star systems. When the Empire's Grand Battle Fleet attacks Earth, our allies will strike Imperial bases across their territory." This was the master plan that had taken decades to develop. Earth's battle with the Empire would not be an isolated conflict. It would be the signal for a galaxy-wide rebellion against Imperial rule. "The Trachoni have 40 ships ready to attack the Imperial supply depot at Kepler Station," O continued. "The Zirath have prepared boarding teams to capture the weapons. Factory at Rigel Prime." Admiral Park smiled. "The Empire thought they were sending 500 ships to crush a single rebellious world. Instead, they were walking into a trap that would tear their civilization apart." Commander Yu Ji-hai entered the meeting room with urgent news. "Admiral, Our deep space monitoring stations have detected the Imperial Grand Battle Fleet. They will arrive in 4 days. How many ships? Park asked. 512 vessels, Yu replied, including the Emperor's personal dreadnought, the Eternal Dominion. It is the largest warship ever built. Dr. Shin A. Ram, Earth's expert on alien biology, joined the discussion through video link. Admiral, I have been studying Imperial crew psychology. Their commanders are chosen for loyalty, not intelligence. They will not adapt quickly to our new tactics. That gives us an advantage, Park said. But we cannot underestimate them. 500 ships can destroy Earth even if they fight poorly. The meeting was interrupted by an emergency alert. Captain Han Wu's voice came through the communication system from the Defiant Thunder. Admiral, we have a problem. Imperial Scout. Ships have entered the outer solar system. They are scanning our defenses. Park stood up immediately. All Allied representatives, prepare your fleets for immediate action. The Empire has arrived early. 3 Imperial Scout ships moved through the asteroid belt, their powerful sensors probing every hiding place where human ships might be concealed. They had orders to gather intelligence on Earth's defenses before the main fleet arrived. Captain Lim Dongwu's Shadow Strike stalked the scouts from a distance, using advanced stealth technology to remain invisible. Captain Han Wu, he reported over the quantum communication link. The scouts are using new sensor technology. They might be able to detect our hidden ships. Understood, Han Wu replied. We cannot let them report back to the main fleet. All ships, prepare for immediate attack. The battle began without warning. Human ships decloaked throughout the solar system, surrounding the Imperial scouts in a web of firepower. But these were not ordinary Imperial vessels. Captain, Lieutenant, Commander Lee Nari reported from her station. The scout ships have some kind of adaptive shielding. Our quantum torpedoes are not penetrating their defenses. Dr. Kim's voice came from the engine room. The Empire has been studying our previous battles. They have developed countermeasures to our weapons. This was exactly what Admiral Park had feared. The Empire was finally taking Earth seriously as a threat. They were adapting their technology to fight human innovations. Switch to dimensional torpedoes, Han Wu ordered. Let us see if they can adapt to weapons that attack from parallel realities. The Defiant Thunder fired its new weapons, and one of the Imperial scouts simply vanished from normal space. The dimensional torpedo had shifted it into another reality, where it could no longer threaten Earth. But the other 2 scouts managed to send a data burst toward the approaching Imperial fleet before they were destroyed. The element of surprise was lost. Fleet Admiral Zormak received the scout report aboard, his flagship, the massive dreadnought Iron Fist. Around him, his staff officers studied the tactical data with growing concern. Sir, his intelligence officer reported, the humans have at least 200 ships in their solar system. Many of them use technology we have never seen before. 200 ships? Zormak laughed. We have 500. Numbers are still on our side. Admiral, his science officer interrupted, there is something else. The energy signatures from human weapons suggest they are using multi-species technology. This might not be a purely human rebellion. Zormak's confidence began to fade. If other species were helping the humans, the situation was more serious than anyone had realized. Send a message to Imperial Command, he ordered. Tell them we may be facing a general rebellion, not just human defiance. On Earth, Admiral Park received reports from her intelligence network throughout the galaxy. The news was better than she had hoped. Admiral, Commander Yu reported, our allies have begun their attacks. The Zephyrians have destroyed the Imperial. Mining operation at Wolf 359. The Mordak have captured 3 Imperial battle cruisers at the Vega system. What about the Trachoni assault on Kepler Station? Park asked. Complete success, Yu smiled. They captured the entire Imperial supply depot and freed 10,000 slaves. The Empire has lost 6 months' worth of military supplies. Colonel Oh Hyun-woo updated the tactical display to show the scope of the rebellion. Red dots marked successful attacks on Imperial positions across 12 star systems. The Empire was under assault on multiple fronts. The Emperor's Council is in emergency session, Oh reported. They are recalling fleets from the frontier to protect the core systems. This was exactly what the Allies had planned. By forcing the Empire to fight on many fronts, they would prevent Imperial forces from concentrating against Earth. Dr. Kim Tae-ho's teams worked around the clock to upgrade Earth's weapons with new alien technology. Zephyrian crystal cores increased. Weapon power by incredible amounts. Mordak energy patterns made human shields nearly indestructible. Velkari temporal fields allowed ships to move faster than anything the Empire had ever faced. Admiral, Dr. Kim reported, the weapon upgrades are complete. Our ships now carry enough firepower to destroy Imperial dreadnoughts with single shots. But Park knew the Empire would not give up easily. 1,000 years of galactic domination had made them arrogant, but they were not weak. When cornered, they would fight with desperate fury. Captain Han Wu, she called over the communication system. Prepare the fleet for the largest space battle in history. The Empire's grand battle fleet will arrive tomorrow. Han Wu stood on the bridge of the Defiant Thunder, looking out at the assembled human fleet. 200 ships floated in formation around Earth, each one equipped with technology that would have seemed impossible just years before. Dr. Kim, he said to his chief engineer, are you ready to show the Empire what happens when they underestimate human determination? Yes, Captain, Dr. Kim replied. Let them come. They will find that we are no longer the primitive world they discovered 200 years ago. The greatest battle in galactic history would begin at dawn, and the Empire was about to learn that their age of dominance was ending. Fleet Admiral Zormak stood on the bridge of his flagship Iron Fist, watching as the Imperial Grand Battle Fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 512 ships appeared in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with the power of 1,000 conquered worlds. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, all ships have arrived safely. The fleet is ready for battle. Zormak studied the tactical display showing Earth's position. Intelligence reports indicated the humans had 200 ships defending their world. But he was not worried. The Empire had never lost a battle when they held such a numerical advantage. Signal the fleet, he ordered. We advance in battle. Formation. Today we end this rebellion and remind the galaxy why the Empire rules. In Earth's command center, Admiral Park So-jin watched the massive Imperial fleet on her tactical screens. She had expected them to arrive in force, but seeing 500 enemy ships was still an impressive sight. Fleet Admiral Ryu Sung-ho, she called to Earth's overall fleet commander, "You are cleared to implement Operation Starfall." Ryu stood on the bridge of the new flagship Earth's Fury, a massive vessel built with the combined technology of 6 allied species. Around him, his bridge crew prepared for the largest space battle in human history. All ships, Ryu announced over the fleet communication network. Take your positions. Remember, we fight not just for Earth, but for the freedom of every species in the galaxy. Captain Han Wu moved the Defiant Thunder into position near the asteroid belt, where his ship's phase shift technology would be most effective. Dr. Kim, he called to his engineer, are the new temporal acceleration systems ready? Yes, Captain, Dr. Kim replied. With Velkari time dilation technology, we can move 10 times faster than normal Imperial ships. Captain No Yun-bi commanded. The massive dreadnought Titan Breaker, now upgraded with Zephyrian crystal weapons that could punch through any Imperial armor. All gun crews report ready, she announced to her bridge. Let us show the Empire what real firepower looks like. Lieutenant Park Jin-woo, one of Earth's youngest fighter pilots, checked his controls aboard the experimental interceptor Lightning. His ship was equipped with Mordak energy-weaving technology that made it nearly indestructible. Fighter squadrons, came the voice of Wing Commander Kim Hae-soon. Remember your training. Use hit-and-run tactics. The enemy cannot hit what they cannot catch. The Imperial fleet advanced slowly, confident in their overwhelming numbers. They had fought this way for 1,000 years, using brute force to crush any opposition, but they had never faced an enemy like Earth's alliance. Human ships detected, reported the Imperial sensor officer. They are spread throughout the solar system in small groups. Zormak smiled. The humans were dividing their forces, making them easier to destroy. Signal all battle groups. Destroy the scattered human ships one by one. But Admiral Park had not scattered her forces out of fear. Each group of human ships was positioned to take advantage of the solar system's unique features. Some hid behind planets, others used asteroid fields for cover, and a few waited in the empty space between dimensions. Admiral, Commander Yu, Ji-hai reported, the Imperial fleet is splitting into attack groups, just as we predicted. Execute Phase 1, Park ordered. Suddenly, space around the Imperial fleet filled with weapons fire coming from seemingly empty space. Human ships decloaked throughout the solar system, appearing behind enemy formations that thought they were safe. Captain Lim Dong-woo's Shadow Strike materialized inside an Imperial battle group, its weapons already firing. 3 enemy ships exploded before they even knew they were under attack. The stealth destroyer vanished again, leaving confusion and burning wreckage behind. "Where did that ship come from?" Admiral Zormak demanded. "How did it get past our sensors?" "Unknown, sir," his tactical officer replied. "It appeared to come from another dimension. The Defiant Thunder activated its temporal acceleration system, moving so fast that Imperial weapons could not track it. Captain Han Wu's ship seemed to teleport around the battlefield, striking enemy vessels and disappearing before they could return fire." "This is impossible," Zormak's science officer reported. "That ship is moving faster than our computers can calculate." Captain No Yeonbi's Titan Breaker demonstrated the power of Zephyrian crystal weapons. A single shot from her main gun tore through the armor of an Imperial heavy cruiser like it was made of paper. The massive ship broke apart in a brilliant explosion. "Sir," the Imperial weapons officer called out, "our shields are ineffective against their new weapons. They are cutting through our defenses completely." Lieutenant Park Jin-woo led his fighter squadron in an attack on Imperial carriers. His ship's Mordak energy shields deflected enemy fire, while his quantum missiles found their targets with perfect accuracy. "This is Lightning Leader," Jin-woo reported over the communication network. "Imperial fighters are no match for our new technology. We have complete air superiority." The first phase of the battle lasted 2 hours. When the Imperial fleet regrouped, they had lost 80 ships while the Human Alliance had not lost a single vessel. The Empire's overwhelming numbers were being neutralized by superior technology and tactics. "Admiral," Zormak's communications officer reported, "we are receiving distress calls from Imperial bases throughout the galaxy. Our other fleets are under attack." This was the moment Admiral Park had been waiting for. "Signal our allies," she ordered. "Begin Phase 2. Across the galaxy, rebellion fleets struck at the heart of Imperial power. The Zephyrians attacked the main Imperial shipyard at Arcturus. The Mordak assaulted the weapons research station at Proxima Centauri. The Trachoni and Zerath hit supply lines that kept the Empire's war machine running. "Sir," Zormak's intelligence officer reported with panic in his voice, "we have lost contact with 12 Imperial sectors. The rebellion is spreading faster than we can respond." But Zormak was a veteran commander. He would not give up easily. "Signal the Eternal Dominion," he ordered. "Tell the Emperor's flagship to join the battle. We will crush these rebels with overwhelming firepower." The Emperor's personal dreadnought was the largest warship ever built. It carried enough weapons to destroy an entire fleet, and its shields could deflect the combined firepower of 100 ships. When it entered the battle, space itself seemed to tremble. "All human ships," Fleet Admiral Ryu announced. "The enemy has deployed their ultimate weapon. Execute Operation Dragon Slayer." Captain Han Wu received new orders through the Quantum communication network. "Dr. Kim," he called to his engineer, "prepare the dimensional phase cannon. We are going to attack the Emperor's flagship." "Captain," Dr. Kim replied, "the dimensional cannon has never been tested in battle. We do not know if it will work against such heavy shielding." "Then we will find out," Han Wu said grimly. The Defiant Thunder seemed to fade from normal space as it activated full dimensional phase technology. The ship existed in multiple realities simultaneously, making it nearly impossible to detect or destroy. Lieutenant Commander Lee Nari tracked the massive Imperial dreadnought on her sensors. "Target locked, Captain. Dimensional phase cannon. Ready to fire." "Fire!" Han Wu ordered. The dimensional cannon shot a beam of energy that existed in all realities at once. It passed through the Eternal Dominion's shields as if they were not there, striking the ship's main reactor core directly. The Emperor's flagship, pride of the Imperial Navy, exploded in a fireball that lit up the entire solar system. The destruction of their ultimate weapon broke the spirit of the Imperial fleet. "Retreat!" Zormak ordered. "All ships, retreat to the hyperspace jump point!" But Admiral Park was not finished with them. "All ships," she announced, "pursue the enemy. Do not let them escape to threaten other worlds. The surviving Imperial." Ships fled toward the edge of the solar system, chased by human vessels that seemed to appear and disappear at will. The great Imperial fleet that had arrived with such confidence was now a broken force running for their lives. "Admiral," Commander Yu reported to Park, "our allies report complete success. The Empire has lost 30 major installations and over 200 ships across 12 sectors." Admiral Park looked at the tactical display showing Imperial ships fleeing from Earth. The battle was won, but the war was not over. The Empire still controlled thousands of worlds and commanded millions of ships. "Send a message to all allied worlds," she ordered. "Tell them that Earth has proven the Empire can be defeated. The age of galactic freedom has begun. The turning point in galactic history had been reached. The Empire that had ruled for 1,000 years was finally facing an enemy it could not defeat through force alone. 3 months after the great battle at Earth, Emperor Valax sat alone in his throne room on the Imperial capital world. The massive chamber that once echoed with the voices of conquered leaders now felt empty and cold. Reports from across the galaxy told the same story: rebellion, defeat, and the collapse of Imperial authority. "My Emperor," his aide announced nervously. "Fleet Admiral Zormak requests an audience." Valax sighed. His once mighty admiral had returned from Earth with only 200 ships out of the 500 he had taken. The defeat had shattered more than just the Imperial fleet. It had broken the myth of Imperial invincibility. "Send him in," the Emperor ordered. Zormak entered the throne room, his uniform torn and his face marked by exhaustion. "My Emperor," he said, kneeling before the throne, "I bring grave news from the outer sectors." "Speak," Valax commanded. "The rebellion has spread to over 50 star systems," Zormak reported. "The humans and their allies have liberated entire sectors. Our remaining fleets are scattered and demoralized." The Emperor closed his eyes. 1,000 years of conquest, 1,000 years of absolute power, and it was ending because of one small world that his predecessors had dismissed as primitive. On Earth, Premier Lee Sang-min stood before the newly formed Galactic Liberation Council. Representatives from dozens of species filled the great assembly hall that had been built in the ruins of the old United Nations building. "Friends," Lee addressed the gathering, "6 months ago, we were isolated worlds under Imperial domination. Today, we stand together as free peoples, united in our determination to build a better galaxy." Admiral Park So-jin, now wearing the uniform of Supreme Commander of the Multi-Species Defense Alliance, updated the Council on military operations. "Our liberation fleets have freed 87 star systems. Imperial forces are retreating to their core worlds." The Zephyrian representative, its crystal body ringing with harmonious tones, spoke for the assembled delegates. "The humans have shown us that freedom is possible. Their courage has inspired a galaxy." Captain Han Wu, promoted to Admiral of the First Liberation Fleet, commanded a task force of ships from 6 different species. His flagship, the new Starfire, was built with the combined technology of the entire alliance. "Admiral," his communications officer reported, "we are receiving surrender requests from Imperial forces in the Rigel sector." Han Wu looked at the tactical display showing 12 Imperial ships surrounded by the Liberation Fleet. These were the same type of vessels that had once terrorized peaceful worlds. Now they hung powerless in space, their crews begging for mercy. "Open a channel," Han Wu ordered. The face of an Imperial commander appeared on the main screen. "Admiral," the alien officer said with desperation in his voice, "we surrender. We throw ourselves on your mercy." "Your surrender is accepted," Han Wu replied calmly. "Your crews will be treated according to the laws of war. Your ships will be inspected and then allowed to return to Imperial space." This was the new way of warfare that Earth had introduced. The Alliance did not seek revenge or conquest. They fought for liberation and freedom, treating even their enemies with dignity. Dr. Kim Tae-ho worked in his new laboratory on Luna, developing technology for peaceful purposes instead of weapons of war. Around him, scientists from a dozen species collaborated on projects that would benefit all sentient life. "Dr. Kim," his assistant called out, "the new medical scanners are working perfectly. Zephyrian crystal technology, combined with Mordak energy fields, can heal injuries that were once impossible to treat." Kim smiled. For years, He had focused on building better weapons to fight the Empire. Now he could use his knowledge to heal and help instead of destroy. Admiral Park met with the Leadership Council in Earth's Command Center, now renamed the Center for Galactic Cooperation. The walls displayed star maps showing liberated worlds in green and Imperial territory in red. Green was winning. "Supreme Commander," reported Colonel Oh Hyun-woo, "intelligence sources indicate the Empire is preparing a final counterattack. They are gathering their remaining fleets for one last attempt to crush the rebellion." "How many ships?" Park asked. 800 vessels, Oh replied. "Everything they have left." Ambassador Kang Ye-jin joined the meeting with news from the diplomatic front. "Supreme Commander, we have received a communication from Emperor Valak himself. He wishes to discuss terms." The message from the Emperor was broadcast to the Leadership Council. Valak appeared on the main screen, looking older and more tired than in previous transmissions. "Leaders of the rebellion," he said, struggling, with the words, "I propose a meeting to discuss the future of the galaxy. Continued warfare serves no one." "He wants to negotiate," Park said to her staff. "The Empire finally realizes they cannot win through force." Premier Lee Sang-min addressed the council. "We will hear his proposals, but make no mistake, we will not accept anything less than complete freedom for all species." The peace conference was held on the neutral world of Centauri Prime, midway between Earth and the Imperial capital. Representatives from both sides met in a vast circular chamber designed to promote equality among all participants. Emperor Valak himself attended, accompanied by his remaining admirals and ministers. Across from them sat the leaders of the Free Worlds Alliance, Premier Lee, Admiral Park, and representatives from every liberated species. "I will speak plainly," Valak began. "The Empire cannot continue this war. We have lost too many ships, too many worlds, too many people. I propose a division of the galaxy. The Empire will retreat to the core systems and leave the outer worlds to your alliance." "Unacceptable," Premier Lee replied firmly. "Freedom cannot be limited to certain sectors. All sentient beings have the right to determine their own destiny." The negotiations continued for weeks. The Empire wanted to maintain control over their oldest colonies. The Alliance demanded complete liberation for all worlds. Both sides had to find a middle ground. Admiral Park proposed the solution that broke the deadlock. The Empire will be allowed to exist, but only as a democratic federation. All member worlds must have the right to vote on their government and the right to leave if they choose. "Democracy?" Valak asked with confusion. "But who will maintain order? Who will make the difficult decisions?" "The people will," Park replied, "just as they do on Earth and every other free world." The final agreement was signed after 2 months of negotiation. The Imperial system would be transformed into the Democratic Federation of Core Worlds. All sentient beings would have basic rights. Any world could choose its own government. Captain No Yunbi commanded the first joint patrol, with ships from both the Alliance and the former Empire working together to fight pirates and maintain peace. Her crews included humans, former Imperial soldiers, and liberated aliens working side by side. "Captain," her tactical officer reported, "distress signal from a merchant convoy. Pirates are attacking near the Deneb system." "All ships," No announced. To her mixed fleet, set course for Deneb, maximum speed. The joint fleet arrived to find 3 pirate ships attacking helpless civilian vessels. The pirates, expecting no opposition, found themselves facing advanced warships crewed by experienced warriors. "This is Captain No of the Galactic Peace Force," she announced to the pirates. "Cease your attack immediately and surrender." Pirates tried to flee, but their old ships were no match for vessels equipped with dimensional drive technology. Within an hour, the criminals were captured, and the merchants were safe. Lieutenant Park Jin-woo, now a squadron leader, flew patrol missions in sectors that had once been Imperial strongholds. His ships carried the flag of the Free Worlds Alliance, alongside the new symbol of the reformed Democratic Federation. "Squadron leader," his wingman reported. "The former Imperial base at Wolf 359 is now a research station. Scientists from 12 species are working together to explore new technologies." This was the new galaxy that had emerged from the ashes of war. Species that had been enemies for centuries now collaborated as equals. Technology that had been used for conquest was turned toward exploration and discovery. Admiral Han Wu stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking out at a formation that would have been impossible just a year before. Human ships flew alongside, vessels from the former empire, their crews working together to protect trade routes and defend peaceful worlds. "Admiral," his communications officer announced, "message from Earth. Premier Lee wants to speak with you." Lee's face appeared on the main screen. "Admiral Han Wu," he said with a smile, "I have news. The Emperor Valix has announced his retirement. The Federation's first democratic elections will be held next month." Han Wu nodded. The transformation was complete. The galaxy that had been ruled by fear for 1,000 years was finally learning to govern itself through cooperation and consent. In his final log entry as commander of the Liberation Forces, Admiral Han Wu wrote, "We began this journey as a primitive world overlooked by a mighty empire. We discovered that our greatest strength was not our weapons or our ships, but our refusal to accept that some beings are meant to rule while others are meant to serve. Today, the galaxy is free, not because we conquered our enemies, but because we showed them a better way to live. The age of empire was over. The age of freedom had begun."